Hello dear students, in today's class the topic of our lecture is Introduction to Aristotle's Poetics. Aristotle has written a treatise, a critical book. Its name is Poetics. Poetics is what? It is a set of rules for writing a good drama, a good tragedy, a good comedy, a good work of art. And basically, it is focused, this treatise of Aristotle is basically focused on tragedy. Like Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, which talks about concept of ras in Indian context. This book of this treatise of Aristotle, it tells us about the set of rules in the Western context. So, let us talk something about the biography of Aristotle. Aristotle, he was born in 384 BC and died in 322 BC. He was a Greek philosopher and he was student of Plato, and he was also a tutor of Alexander the Great. Plato, this is very important. Plato, who was Aristotle's teacher, Plato had given a concept of imitation in his book, and he said that Plato had imagined an ideal society, and he had banished the poets from his ideal society, saying that poets and artists, they are not good people. They do not copy reality. They do not represent reality in their works. Plato had said the reality presented by poets and artists is thrice removed from reality. He had imagined an ideal state, and in ideal state there is no place of poets and artists. Plato had said that original reality, ultimate reality is in the heaven, and this earth, this world is nothing but a copy of heaven. The artists and poets, writers, they copy the earthly reality, the worldly reality. So, this is copy of copy. This twice and thrice removed from reality, 2 and 3 times away from reality. So, the works of art, Plato himself had written several poems, but he destroyed his poems because in his ideal society he had banished the poets, he had condemned the poets and artists, but his disciple Aristotle said that, he said, no, It is not like that. He opposed his teacher, Plato. He said that poets and artists are great people and their imagination is not useless. Imagination is a good thing, because unless and until you imagine something good, something great, you cannot do something good and great. So, in order to do something better and greater, you first have to imagine, and this task of poets and artists of imagination, the task of imagining things, it should not be condemned, it should rather be praised. Aristotle said that, okay, poets and artists do not represent reality in their works, but they represent an ideal reality, means the type of society that how society should be. They imagine this, and their imagination is always fruitful and beneficial for the society. All these ideas he presented in his work Poetics, and it was written in 335 BCE. It is one of the earliest surviving works of dramatic theory. What is the purpose of this book? The purpose is a systematic study of literary art, particularly tragedy. Aristotle says that poetry is mimesis, imitation. What is imitation? In external world, things are there. An artist imitates a real garden, a real rose, a real flower. In the same way, a dramatist, a writer, he imitates he imitates a real world and writes in his works. So he says all art is nothing but imitation. Imitation, which was rejected, which was condemned by Plato in his ideal state. But here Aristotle says that this imitation is not negative, it is a positive thing. Humans have a natural instinct for imitation and rhythm. We imitate the real world and we create a new literary work in our literature, in our works of art. So, what are the ways of imitation? Medium, through rhythm, language and harmony, objects, men better, worse than they are, manner, narrative or dramatic. So, in three ways, medium, objects and manner, we imitate the things. Further, Aristotle says, he talks about Aristotle has to talk in this treatise Poetics about several genres, but in reality only he has talked basically on two things. He has talked on tragedy and epic poetry, and basically tragedy. He has talked most part of this Poetics is covered with these two things, poetics, tragedy and epic poetry. So, here we will talk in detail about tragedy and its elements. Definition of tragedy. What is tragedy? What is its definition? Tragedy is an imitation of an action. There is an action of some important person, some characters, and tragedy is imitation of that action. And action, what type of action? Serious, that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude. Means, if you copy a very short action, the length of copying the action is very short, then in that case, that is not tragedy. It should have a certain magnitude. In language embellished, means its language should be of higher note, means elevated language. Through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation, catharsis of these emotions. You know, these lines, these 3 lines are very important. He says so many things just in 3 lines. You know, हिंदी में कहा जाता है गागर में सागर भर देना. So these 3 lines fill गागर में सागर. How? Pity and fear, and the concept of catharsis, that is purgation. Tragedy, which copies the action of a serious action and that has a certain magnitude and in a very lofty language, in a very elevated style, and this task of copying the action, it produces pity and fear among the audience, and in the process it produces catharsis of the emotions. I will, in the coming slides, I will explain this concept in more detail, but we will talk now the 6 elements of tragedy. First element is plot, which is also called mythos. Plot is the most important concept. Second is character, which is called ethos. Third is thought, which is called Dionia. Fourth is diction, lexis, language. Fifth is melody, melos, song, music, etc. And the sixth is spectacle, opsis, means the stage setup, total look of the stage. So, we will now begin with the importance of plot. Plot is the most important thing in tragedy. According to Aristotle, plot is the most important thing in tragedy. How? And what is plot? Most of the students confuse plot with the story. They just know that the story is plot. No, there is some difference. Story is not plot. Just like we humans, we are made of flesh, blood and bones. So the bones in our body on which our rest of the material is stuck, bones of our body is plot. So the basic structure of the story is the plot. Through an example, I will explain what is the difference between story and plot. The king died and the queen died. This is a story. The king died and after some time the queen died. This is an example of story. But if I say that king died and out of grief the queen died, this is a plot. So are you getting my point? What I am trying to tell you, that king died and the queen died is a story, and the king died and out of grief the queen died. This is a plot. So how is this? Out of grief means we have two events, king died and queen died. In the first example, which is story, there is no connection of the two things. But in the second example, we says that the king died and out of grief the queen died. This connects the things, and this connecting things, this connection is plot. And now we will talk about the unity of plot. The plot should be coherent and logically connected from the beginning to the middle and to the end. It must be unified. Now we will talk about types of plots. There are two types of plots, simple plot and complex plot. In simple plot there is no reversal of fortune and though no anagnorisis. But in complex we find these two things, peripeteia, reversal of fortune, and anagnorisis. We have two terms. Peripeteia. What is peripeteia? Reversal of fortune. A character is there in the tragedy. Everything is going fine in his life, and suddenly he meets a great downfall, and this is the reversal of fortune, and this is called peripeteia. And what is anagnorisis? That something disturbing has occurred in our life, or something good or something bad has occurred in our life, but we are not aware of this. The moment when we become aware of this fact that we have met a great downfall, or we have something great, something good in our life, the moment of recognizing this thing, the moment of recognition is called anagnorisis. So in a complex plot we have reversal of fortune and recognition, and in simple plot we do not have these two elements. The simple plot is without any concept of recognition and reversal of fortune. The next concept is character and thought. Catharsis. What is catharsis? As I said earlier, that catharsis is emotional purification through pity and fear. When the audience see the character suffering, character meeting some downfall or characters dying, audience feel pity for characters. But audience do not feel only pity, they also feel fear. And fear for whom? Fear for themselves. They think that I may also meet such a fortune. So audience feel both things, pity and fear, and these two emotions, pity and fear, they purge the emotions of the audience, emotional purification of the audience, and in this way catharsis is produced and their emotions are purged. Character and thought. Ideal characters, good, appropriate, realistic and consistent. A character should be good, he should be appropriate, means if he is a thief, if he is a scholar, he must be scholarly. If he is a king, he must be kingly. Realistic, character should be realistic, and he should be consistent. He or she should be consistent, means if the character is good, he must remain good if there is no any great cause. I am not talking about flat and round characters. Flat characters from the beginning to the end they remain the same, and the round characters they change their nature. I am not talking about that, but by consistency I mean that a character must remain good, if he in the middle of the play, at the last of the play, if he is good, if he is presented, means so in the beginning of the play he must remain, he must maintain his nature, he must maintain his quality of character, he must maintain his consistency from the beginning to the end. Tragic hero. A hero of tragedy, he is of some higher standard, noble stature, hamartia, tragic flaw or error in the judgment. Without hamartia, what is hamartia? Hamartia is tragic flaw, and what is tragic flaw? Some defect in the character. Aristotle says that we suffer because we have some defect in our characters. We do not suffer only because that that is our fate. We do not suffer that because that is our fate. We suffer only because of our mistakes, because of our lack of some quality in our personality. So this lack of quality in our personality, this is called hamartia, this is called tragic flaw, this is called error in judgment. I will talk about some very important plays of Shakespeare, like Macbeth, Hamlet, King Lear, Othello, etc. All these are great tragedies of William Shakespeare. So Macbeth's hamartia, Macbeth's tragic flaw is what? His ambition. Ambition. Hamlet's tragic flaw is what? Procrastination. Or we can say indecisiveness. King Lear, hubris or pride. Othello, jealousy. Othello meets his tragedy because he has hamartia of jealousy. King Lear has hamartia of hubris or pride. Hamlet has hamartia of indecisiveness. Macbeth has hamartia of ambition. All these characters meet their tragic end because of some defect in their personality, some defect in their character. So this is hamartia, and they experience peripetia and anagnorisis. Because of this hamartia, this hamartia, they experience peripedia. Peripedia is what? Reversal of fortune. And anagnorisis is what? Recognition of their real state of affairs. That is called anagnorisis or recognition. The next is thought, refers to themes, arguments, and the moral purpose behind dialogue. What is thought? Themes, arguments, and the moral purpose behind the dialogue. What are the other elements? Diction, choice of words, poetic language. That is diction, means what language the playwright is using in his drama or play. Some music is called melody. Some role of chorus and musical elements. And then last element is spectacle, visual aspects considered less artistic due to dependency on stage machinery. You know, plot is the most important element of a tragedy, and spectacle, which is the visual aspect of the drama, is the least important. Because if the action is good, if the plot is good, if the story is good, then spectacle need not to be so good. Because of good plot, the drama will prosper, it will become masterpiece. So the next I said that epic poetry. He had talked in his poetics about epic poetry. What are the similarities between epic poetry and tragedy? Both deal with serious subjects and noble characters. Tragedy and epic poetry both deal with the theme, the subject matter is serious, and the characters are of higher stature: kings, warriors, gods, etc. Differences: tragedy is shorter and more unified, uses direct action and instead of narration, greater emotional impact. You know, epic is very long narrative. Tragedy is short, but it creates more emotional impact. What is the influence and legacy of poetics overall? Poetry is the foundation of Western literary criticism. As I said, Natya Shastra by Bharat Muni is the Indian concept of theory and literary criticism, and poetics by Aristotle is the Western literary criticism. It is the foundation of Western literary criticism. It has influenced Renaissance neoclassical drama. It is still relevant in analyzing drama and literature today. Aristotle is still relevant. Aristotle, Plato, they are very great personalities, and whatever they have written about politics, about civics, about literature, everything is relevant even today. Criticisms and limitations. Eurocentric and based on limited examples. They were at that time Sophocles and Euripides. There were very few examples, and on the basis of the works of these playwrights, Aristotle has based his treatise Poetics. It lays emphasis on plot over character may not apply universally. At some places, character may be more important, but here Poetics emphasizes more on plot, but it cannot be accepted everywhere in all countries, in all genres of literature. It lacks discussion on comedy. As I told you earlier, that mainly poetics talks mainly about uh, tragedy and epic poetry. It doesn't talk about comedy. Conclusion. What is conclusion? Poetic remains a seminal text in the theory. Seminal text, very important text in literary theory. Even today, as I said, Aristotle's poetics is even today is very relevant. It offers deep insight into the mechanics of storytelling and emotional engagement. It helps in understanding Aristotle's principles, and it enhances the appreciation of classical and modern tragedies alike. So, this was all in today's class. In next class, I will focus especially on tragedy, tragic concept given by Aristotle. Thank you.